Hi guys, welcome to the Raw Light podcast. My name is Danielle Baker and thank you for being here today. I'm super excited to be here this week because I want to share something really awesome with you. So probably for the last 12 to 6 months I have been explaining to you guys, obviously going through postpartum. If you're a mum and you've gone through having a baby, you understand that your whole brain changes with you. The chemicals in your brain change with you, and when you give birth it can change up to a year or two after, depending on how you integrate things. Some women find it more challenging, some women don't. It's just depends on you and your path and what you've chosen to experience this lifetime. And what is really important is to remember that when we are in these hardships and these hard times, if we look within ourselves and actually ask ourselves what the deep problem and the deep trigger is, we can really heal something. So I'm tossing up today. There was one part where last night I was literally laying in bed and this specific story keeps bothering me. It's like eating away at me. And I have spoken to the person in the last, I'd say, 6 months, and we just had a discussion and I said some things that I needed to say to them, so that I could genuinely heal from what happened. So I think I'm going to go down that pathway and that road of sharing that with you guys today. So I think it was around, let me think about it. Sorry, let me just have a little think. I think it was 4 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, maybe 5 years ago. It was quite a long time ago now. I lived in Perth, and I I feel like I should start right back at the start. So I'm tossing up whether I should tell this story or not, only because it digs up a lot and there's a few people involved in it, so I'm being very respectful of everybody, but it has a purpose to the story, so I'm gonna tell it. I was with my ex-partner who I'd been with for 4 years. We'd just gotten back from living overseas. We moved into an apartment building in Scarborough area, which I loved. That apartment was amazing. My middle brother moved in with us as well, so my ex-partner worked away quite a bit. And basically what happened between me and him was, because he was working away so much, and I also look back upon this relationship and I'm like, wow, I was not very open emotionally, and nor did he. He was actually very solid and very grounded, right? And he was actually a very gentle, beautiful man, but he wouldn't rise and challenge me. Okay, he was looking for a very simple life, which is totally fine, by the way. I don't have anything against that, but I wasn't looking for that. And so we'd been together for 4.5 years, and I'd said to my parents, like, I, I just don't know. And my parents weren't happy about it because he was such a great man, okay? Because he was lovely. He's a very, very lovely person. He never did anything wrong or horrible, but I did feel very emotionally lost and blocked from him, and we couldn't have any deep conversations. It was all very surface level things. Um, and the connection there, especially the spiritual one and the sexual one, was just really off. It felt yuck and not quite right, okay? So in general, okay, so this story is basically about how I got myself into a bit of a, it's about guys, basically, and how I went down the wrong path with men, okay? I've spoken about it before, but I feel like this one needs to come up so I can discuss a few things along the way and tell you the learnings and the lessons that I've learned along the way. So after I split up with him, I have told that story before. If you guys would like to hear it again, you can go back to I think it's like the first episode or something I spoke about it. I haven't spoken about it in depth because there's a lot to it. But basically, I was the strongest I had ever been in my life, energetically and spiritually, but I stopped working with my mentor. Oh, I think it was when I got back from overseas. And that was a mistake. That was a big mistake. I should have kept going. I stopped for like a month, and it rocked me heaps. So anyways, we moved to Perth. He kept doing FIFO. I felt like internally there was something missing, okay? Then I met my best mates at the time. They lived in the back of the building, And then I started to hang out with those guys every single weekend. And I started to realize, watching those guys all the time, that what I had to me wasn't really what I was looking for. And a lot of people do this, and a lot of people stay in relationships, okay? My life, I feel like I could write a book about the shit that I've done. I've experienced so much in my 20s, and I loved that I've experienced that in my 20s. I'm 30 in a month, and I have been pondering on basically the last month of my 20s. I'm actually so excited about it. I can't wait to hit my 30s. I feel like I'm going to be thriving in my 30s. I just do. Basically, I felt like from the time I was born until like basically 27, I really struggled to find who I was in life. And also I've had so many experiences. Like, I'm talking from dating to work experience to energy experience to I've got so much wisdom in my body already from this lifetime and from other lifetimes. So that's why I find the passion to be able to share all this information about my life to you guys. So this was like, I would definitely say that this was actually longer. This was like, I split up with him when I was 22. So this was a while back, guys. This started a while back, okay? It didn't end though. The reason I'm going to say it didn't end until I was like, I chose to move back to Gelton again, okay? So I was basically, where was I up to? Okay, yes. So I was spending time with the back house, okay? A lot of time. We had fun, so much fun. I was in the stage where I needed to have fun in life. I had always had boyfriends. I never had time to actually grow and experience things. And I chose this path in this way so that I could experience what I experienced next. So I ended up moving out of the apartment and moving in with somebody, okay, somebody else. And it was great for the time that it was, but it wasn't what I was looking for. And in the end, it didn't turn out very well when I left. And this has happened quite a few times actually with females and things like that. Yeah, I've been told that I was too spiritual, that it's just I was too much for them. But I was just basically on my own discovery and on my own growth journey. So I started seeing this guy. Okay, he was quite a bit older than me, probably about 10 years at the time. So he was like 34, I think, and I was like 22, 3. So I'm not going to do the maths in my head because I can't be bothered. But so we started seeing each other. He was a very wealthy man that lived in a big house in Trigg across from the ocean, okay? He was very much like telling me everything I wanted to know, okay? Telling me everything. He put his time and energy into writing all these big stories and telling me all these big emotional things and connecting with me and telling me all this stuff. Then when I started to actually properly hang out with him and hang over his house and stuff, he started to become super controlling. Super controlling. I was at work one day and he called me 3 or 4 times and I rang him back and was like, are you okay? Like, what's going on? And he was like, oh no, I'm just bored at work and I just wanted to make sure you were at work. I was like, okay. At the time, I did not, until I've reflected, realize that this is a very big red flag and toxic. This went on for about, I think I let it go on for like a month, where I would go over there, he would have a mental breakdown, he would be super disrespectful to me, like he just wanted me to be a companion. He was very much living in his childhood wounds. He had a lot of money, but he hung out with men that basically preyed on girls, okay? Makes me sick thinking about it. But the journey that I was going on, I had to go on and see this. At one point, I got into an argument with him and I was so upset and so angry that I made the lights flick on and flick off. Like, I'm talking full witch stuff. My energy is so strong that if I don't keep it in check, like this particular time, it was when I was very much starting to really step into my own energy work and things. I basically nearly burst a light bulb. So it is really important, if you do have gifts and if you are along this path and you experience this stuff, it's because you are very strong in energy and you really need to work with somebody to help yourself rein it in. I can help you if you are that type of person to do that. It is important to learn yourself with energy. So basically, I nearly shattered and it freaked him out because he knew a little bit about like my background, but not heaps. He was very ashamed about it, and it also made me feel very ashamed about it. But he would be very kind and buy me lots of things and stuff. So this was my first experience of basically having a sugar daddy. And by the way, I didn't realize this at the time. I wasn't ever asking him for things. He would just randomly give me stuff. He had the nerve when he was really horrible to me, like super, super horrible to me, and I was splitting up with him. I went to talk to my ex-partner because I just needed to chat with him about a few things. Okay, we needed to kind of close a chapter together. So, by the way, I didn't give myself any time to heal from splitting up with my ex-partner. I gave myself like 2-3 weeks, and then this guy roped up into my life. Okay, not the way to go. Definitely not the way to go. But it's your 20s, right? And you're learning. So I was like, okay, yeah, go to see my ex-partner. Had a chat with him. And we were like, yep, this is definitely over for good. I wanted to make sure, sorry if you heard that noise, that was my cat. I wanted to make sure that it was 100% over, and I could feel in both of us that it definitely was, but we really respected each other and were ready to move on. He was like, I will always love you, but you really hurt me and we need to move on. I was like, that's fair enough. I chose that and I'm going to keep going, because I felt really lost in myself and was like, did I make the right decision? Didn't I make the right decision? Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. And I'm glad that he said no at the time. That was the best thing. Anyway, I told the guy that I was seeing at the time that I'd gone to see my ex-partner just to close things up, and he was like, you're so distrustful, I can't trust you, how dare you do that to me? And I was like, we're not even dating, we were just seeing each other, we actually weren't even dating, like he wasn't even my boyfriend sort of thing. It was just, the whole thing was like cringe and stuff like that. It was not good at all. It was the biggest red flag in my life. He just wanted somebody that was basically, he could just pay them whatever. He wanted to drink and party. He was literally, I think he was actually older than that. He was closer to 35, I feel. He was older, okay? And he's still doing the same thing. Someone recently messaged me and was like, I remember when you used to see such and such, in that one small blimp of your life, they are still doing what they were doing, still preying on young girls, and it's really disgusting, and they're probably in their 40s. It is actually disgusting when I think about it. So that was an experience, and I let myself go into that because I was so desperate, because I felt like I could feel this deep love that was out there, and I thought it was in somebody else, but it was in myself. Okay, this love was in myself. So, okay, also backstory a little bit. Let's just back up a little bit. Okay, we're going to jump onto another story. So I was still dating my ex-partner. I'd started hanging out with my new group of friends, okay? We went down south for New Year's one year. And this specific friend, I'd met him a couple of times, and when we'd met, it had been pretty electric between us. Like, I'm talking pretty fiery electric between us. There was a lot of static going on there. I'd never, ever, ever experienced that before in my life, okay? Never. This was the first time that I understood what a twin flame karmic partner is, okay? This is the very, very first time I realized what a twin flame karmic partner is. So basically, this friend came back for New Year's, came down south with us. I was still dating my ex-partner, okay? I could just feel this electric feeling between us, okay? It was electric. I'm talking like electric, okay? Now, there's a different kinds of loves in this world. When I talk about twin flame karmic partners, if you don't know what a twin flame partner is, just the backstory, it's basically your other half of your soul that split and came back down to earth in a male or female form, or whatever form, or a male and male form, or whatever form you chose to come back in. And you may have chosen to come back into each other's lives to help each other grow. You might not have come back to be together, okay? There's always a runner in the situation. There's always a person that likes to run, and there's always a person that likes to, like, they know that the connection is there, but they're choosing to look the other way. This is basically what happened, okay? And there's a big lesson in this, a huge lesson for me in this. So I was still with my ex-partner. We go down south for New Year's. He was hitting on me the whole time. Okay, I'm not even kidding. To the point where one of my girlfriend's partner had to say to him, "What are you doing? She has a partner. Like, what are you doing?" We had a moment over the when everyone was like cheersing things. We honestly had the deepest, like the eye contact. You girls, you know what I'm talking about. This was like pure, you looking in my soul, I'm looking in your soul's moment. I dropped a glass like it was in space and time and smashed on the floor, and I was like, what the heck? He woke me up for me to realize that my ex-partner wasn't my lifetime partner. I thought that this guy was my lifetime partner, but he was sent into my life to awaken me, okay? To really, really awaken me. For me to waken up again, and for me to do some things to him, okay? And shift some things for him. The pathway that opened next was me basically realizing that the connection I had with my now partner was not what I was looking for. I was looking for this spark. I was looking for this spark of life, okay? Now, I'm going to keep going on with the story, but one of the biggest things that I want you to realize is the only way that you will find that spark in your life with another person is if you find it within yourself. And I truly mean that. Finding it within yourself as a woman, this beautiful spark that we have as women, this inner light, this inner connection that we and so many other women desire to have, comes within yourself first, and then it radiates out into your world. Okay, and then you can attract somebody if you don't have a partner. And even if you did have a partner, they will notice a difference in your feminine and will be very, very attracted to you like a light bulb. Especially if your partner is very much in their masculine, they will be like, ooh, she's got a new energy going on and I like it. I'm telling you now, it's worth it going in and working on yourself so you can discover it. But hey, I'm actually realizing this as I'm talking to you, by the way, that I'm actually getting channeled into that a little bit, that he was there to waken me up, okay? I want to keep going with this story because this story gets really, really interesting. So I eventually do, like I said, split up with my ex-partner, and then jump forward. I ended up seeing another guy, and then he would come backwards and forwards because he didn't live in Perth. He lived somewhere else. And he would come backwards and forwards. And every time I would see him, it would like jolt something in my life for me to really recognize that I was here for something greater. But the problem was I then became a little bit obsessive. I became obsessive because I basically felt that energy from him all the time. And also, I want to be very clear, because of how open I am spiritually, on a spiritual level, he was coming to me in my dreams and talking to me and speaking to me and telling me all these things. So I thought on a physical level, that matches what I was feeling. He must feel this for me on a physical level. Did he know we had the connection? Yes, he very much did. Did he ever verbalize it? No, he didn't. But his actions and how he acted 100% did, okay? I was a very, very much knew what I was looking for in life, okay? I was coming on strong. I was very much like in my body. I was like, yes, let's go. Like, I know what I want in this life. And for somebody who has kind of no idea how you've played this narrative out in your head, you have to be super and very, very careful. I want to share this story because I feel like it's going to help a lot of women. Like, everybody has been in this position before and they've kind of gone, but they didn't say that they liked me, but they're showing me physically that they're like into me. So does that mean they like me or not? For a woman, this is the biggest like red flag because they're not actually saying it, but their body and their energy is saying yes, but their words are saying like basically no. So how did I go about everything? The answer is not very good. I kept going and I kept pursuing it, and I was like becoming a little bit too obsessive with things. Like, I would sit at my job in Perth out the back and I would basically like look on my phone, and there was like I think it was like a YouTube spiritual person at the time was like, they're thinking about you, they're seeing you. And this is why I always say it's very, very harmful for you guys to jump on and take information from a person who basically shares these readings online and says they're thinking about you, they love you, because they trap you, okay? They trap you into thinking, these little fuckers trap you into thinking that this person is actually thinking about you and helping you create your own delusion. It is not good. I was not in a great place, guys. I'm going to be honest, this is huge for me to talk about because I don't think I've ever actually expressed how much this actually affected me, but it really mentally affected me, okay? And I don't think he actually realized how much he affected me as well, because the story gets bigger, right? So from this goes on for like a couple of months, and we're like, you know, when he would come back, then everyone would hang out and he would just, you know, and I would just still feel that connection and stuff like that. He felt it, he reined it back in a little bit though, because he knew that he was basically in trouble if he allowed that to. So here's the thing, he was in his ego. He was purely in his ego. I am not. I am very much in my own spiritual self. So for me to come in and bring that out in him, he was like, whoa, 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 no, I don't want this right now, because if I take this, then I will lose what I have built over in another place, okay? I can tell you that for a fact. I know that for a fact because I spoke to my mentor about it. If he had walked down the path with me, he would have lost what his ego had built over somewhere else. And his ego needed to be perfectly pristine because of how the family dynamics were for him to be brought up. Okay? It is very important for me to acknowledge that, because I was very much like, you and I both know that there is a very deep connection here. I 100% know that. And I still believe it from my core. But it is a twin flame connection. So that connection, they're just here to reawaken you and waken you up again, okay? They're just here to shake you up and be like, wake up. You got more to do in this life. You got more to get out there. You got more to see. Stop doing what you're doing right now, okay? So anyways, going on, I ended up going to Bali with the guys, and I was fit, guys. I'm talking, this was the fittest I've ever been in my life. I was doing Pilates like every single day, like reformer Pilates every single day. I was running, I was doing sprints with my best mate. I was fit. I was looking fit. I was feeling fit. I was feeling healthy. And I noticed every time that he would come back, he would struggle to kind of connect with all of us because he was so in his ego and thinking that that's how we ran, until it took him a couple of days to like cool it down. So we went on the Bali trip and I decided to go, and I did I did a festival over there, like a workout festival with them, and we had this is the best fucking time of my life, I'm not gonna lie. It was the best time. I was literally felt so strong in my body, energetically, independent. Man, I'm telling you, I felt so good within myself. I was like, I'd been to the naturopath, I was balancing my hormones. I'd also, mind you, I skipped this part out, but I spent a lot of mornings getting up, okay, after everything happened with that other guy, and really looking at myself in the mirror and saying, I love you, it's okay, we've got this, it's been tough, you've allowed yourself to kind of go down this path, you're okay, it's all right. Every morning I would get out of the shower, I would talk to myself, I would journal, I would run, I would work out, I would do all the things that I needed to do, but I would also meditate for like 30 minutes, and then I would get up and run. It was, honestly, I wish that I didn't take advantage of that time, because I was flying along in life, okay? I hadn't really discovered that my spiritual essence, like I honestly hadn't really discovered that my spiritual essence was really there, and not completely yet. I was aware of it, like I said. I knew that I was very deeply clicked on. There's another story when I tell you that I actually realized how powerful I was, and that I'll tell you that another time. But I would get up every morning and tell myself and show myself the love that I genuinely never got and needed, okay? I was doing well, was flying. We go to Bali, we're having a fucking blast, all right? We're having a great time. I was riding my own scooter, we were going backwards and forwards, we were partying, we're having a great time. I was probably one of the most hungover I've ever been in my life. There's another story I'll tell you. I told you, I've had so many things happen to me when I stopped basically drinking. So now I only have like a glass or two of wine or whatever. I don't feel like I need it in my life, nor do I want it, but I do enjoy the taste of it. we're having a great time. It's probably like, we had like, I think 3 days left in Bali, 4 days left in Bali. I didn't even think about this guy at all, not once. Like I actually had kind of basically just let that whole thing kind of go. I was like, I'm not even going to bother. This is how powerful energy works. I'm telling you, when I was like in Bali, I would wake up every morning, I would meditate, I would look after myself, then I would go and we would eat good food and I would nourish myself. And I was literally, so I'd turned my head away from everything and was focusing in another direction, okay? I was not even focusing on him or anything like that. I was focusing on myself. Lo and behold, the universe decided that he was going to message me. Not only did he message me, he called me. And I was like, this is super weird. So I called him and I was like, hey, you okay? Like, why are you calling? We're in Bali. Like, this is so weird. And he's like, hey, yeah, so like, I just wanted to let you know, like, I'm coming. And I was like, what? And he was like, yeah, I just wanted to let you know that I've like booked a flight and that I wanted to surprise everybody and come to Bali because I was supposed to come and I didn't come and like, and I was like, okay, he'd never been out of the country before, by the way. I was like, okay, when do you plan on being here? He's like, oh yeah, so I want to surprise everyone tomorrow and, it's going to be amazing. And I was like, I don't know how the fuck I'm going to do that because the guys are they're honestly super switched on. And we had planned to have such a chilled morning and such a chilled like time. And he was like, can't you just like make sure that they're there by, and I was like, yeah, I can try. Anyway, he hangs up and I was like, this is so weird, okay? So weird. I ended up talking to my mentor about this. I'll keep going with the story. So anyways, I make the guys go earlier to wherever we were going and they were like, do we have to leave early? Like, why are we leaving so early? And then both of them kind of like clicked on that there was something going on. Anyways, we rock up to this place. We're at this hotel. He's like across the street and he's like, oh, hey, like yells out to everybody and like runs over and everyone's like, oh God, you surprised us. You're so exciting. Sort of thing. So funny. And then we chatted and hugged and we were talking and everyone was kind of like in such a good vibe, in a high vibe. We're all in Bali, we're all happy, we're drinking, we're rolling along, but like by this stage we've been there for like 10 days and we're like fitting in with the Bali crew, okay? I actually burnt myself with a shisha on my arm. I still remember it now. And I was pretty drunk that night and stuff like that. Anyways, I can't remember. I think we went out afterwards. Honestly, I can't remember what the hell. Oh, we went to in Seminyak. We went somewhere in Seminyak. The one with the big slide. I can't even use my mind. It starts with S. Anyways, a lot of people would know what I'm talking about. But yeah, so we decided to go to this place. So we were swimming and everyone was having a good time and Amanda and I were like having a great time. I was flying. Like I was still in my own zone. I was like, I can't be bothered with this guy. Like I'm just going to keep doing my thing. And then the whole flirty sort of thing kept coming out. But the problem was he didn't come to me. I went to him. And this was the biggest mistake I probably made, was going to him. And basically, because when I'm drunk, I'm not a very good hider at being drunk. If I'm drunk and I'm with somebody, I'm very much like all over them. That's just who I am as a drunk. And we chatted and stuff. And like, I think we were both super, super drunk. So we came back to the room and then we just fell asleep and that was it. We were sharing a bedroom and the couple was sharing the couple room. Anyway, the next morning, I was like chatting with him and he was like, oh, do you want to like have a shower with me? And I was like, no, I don't actually. So I think that rejection from me saying no to him, from that, he kind of like stepped back a bit again. And then we kind of went out and did things. And then I approached him again and was like, do you want to go back? And anyways, long story short, we went back and things happened and everyone walked in on us. It was a weird kind of situation. And then, so there's a reason behind this story. I said to him, like, look, we do have a connection. Do you want to like see where this goes and where this leads? He said yes. Okay. Yes, I do. Let's just see how it goes. Let's let everything unfold. Yes, I do want to see how this goes. Okay. So I like let it go and stuff like that. When I got back from Bali, I made the mistake. This is where things went probably a bit AWire for me. I made a mistake and I rang him, and we actually had a really decent conversation. And I said to him, what if I flew over to see you for a weekend and we actually saw if there was something? And he was like, yes. And then he backpedaled and said, actually, only if you want to. He originally straight away said, yes, I would love you to come over. And then said, actually, I don't know if I want you to. And I was like, okay, well, I can. You just have to make your decision. I ended up booking flights, and then I told our friends that I was going over there, and they were kind of like, what? What? This is the first time I didn't actually feel crazy about the connection, because I was like, there's definitely something there. But I didn't, red flag, I didn't hear from him the whole week. Okay, I'm laughing at myself. On the weekend, the Friday, I fly over and let him know that I'm flying over. He messages me back and he's like, yep, no worries. I get there. He looks like he's been partying all night, okay? I knew something was off, and I knew as soon as I stepped off and I saw him that I shouldn't have come. I should not have come, because the next stages and the next steps, people, was not great for me, okay? Not great at all. All right, I'm going to keep going, but you got to listen to Miss Rachel in the background, because Oakley just woke up and I want to finish off this story. So, lo and behold, I get there. We start, hanging out, and we go straight back to his place, okay? And then afterwards, he was like, it's like 10 o'clock in the morning. He was like, do you want to go and get something to eat? And I was like, yep, sounds great. So he, showed me around Sydney. We were walking around, and then we get to basically down in Bondi. We go to Bondi, okay? And we're about to sit down and eat something, and these girls come up to us, and the girls go, oh, hey, Steph. And they look at me and they go, who's this? Really sassy, who's this? And I was like, he was like, oh, this is my friend Danielle. She's from Perth. She's just visiting at the moment. And then my heart kind of sank in that moment. And then they looked at me and they're like, so where are you staying? And I was like, in a hotel. Now, biggest mistake of my life, I should have thrown this fucker under the bus and been like, I'm staying with him, actually. I actually saw him last weekend. We've been hanging out, blah, 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 is what I should have done, okay? That's what I should have done. What I didn't do is I decided to stick up for this dumbass and make myself looking like an absolute fucking loser, because obviously he had been seeing somebody else, and I felt that as well. By the way, women know when people are seeing other women, okay? Especially if you guys are sleeping together and those types of things. So when we sit down, I say to him, so we need to talk about what is happening here. What is going on? Are you interested in something with me? Also, I should mention, through the day when we had breakfast, lunch sort of situation, he was he did the right things, okay? He did the right things. He paid for everything, which I wasn't expecting, but he did pay for everything and those types of things. But he basically, he paid for everything and those types of things, and then he was good. But then we started talking about what do we wanted out of life, sort of thing. And I said to him, well, in my life, I just want to do my work and help women in their own path, in their own way. And his eyes lit up, but what he said out of his mouth was not what was coming out of his mind and stuff. I think it really scared him, the fact that I had that and he had and he goes, oh yeah, Sydney's great like that. There's lots of opportunities for lots of women and, working and entrepreneurship. So he was talking to me like that. I was like, okay. So then we had that other chat, and he was like, I'd really let's just see where everything goes. And the problem with this, guys, is obviously I came to visit him and stuff. If he had said to me, hey, I just don't feel like we can go further anymore, I think it's probably best if we just keep it as a friends level. I would have been heartbroken, but I would have been so much better than what happened and transpired next. I basically still stayed with him again, and then I had another day there. I wasn't flying out until I think it was the Monday night, and he had to go to work. And we chatted a little bit during the day, but not much. And then he got home and he was being kind and stuff, and was I'll get you a taxi and all that sort of thing, was being gentle and kind and stuff. And then for some reason, I don't know why, it must have been my instincts, but I just all of a sudden just I don't know, just like slapped his hand off my leg or something. It was like, I don't know what the hell. And for a lot of people that are thinking like, you are fucking crazy, like you've created this whole delusional story, this is my story of like the way that spirituality works in my life can be so deep and so strong that I get caught up in things that I probably shouldn't get caught up in. And that's what happened in my 20s. Anyway, puts me on the plane, he messages me and was like, thank you for coming over and all those sort of things. I basically don't hear from him again. Like, I get ghosted. Which is really, really fucked up because we're in a friend group and he couldn't actually admit to me that even if he did have a connection, he couldn't... Why is it so hard in general? I really struggle with this. I'm a very open and honest person, so I really struggle when people can't actually be open and honest and say, like, they just don't know how to or they don't want to, even if they do know how to. Hey, I do like you. I can't see this going any further though because of we have such different lives or blah, 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 right? But then okay, so this really affected me. I went and saw my mentor and I was really, really, really upset. My energy was everywhere. And he basically had to say to me, stop. But I'm talking like in a big Jesus God voice. It was like, stop. Okay. And I was like, he knew how to always pull me out of like my deep, dark places. And I was like, okay, yeah. I was like, he said to me, tell me what happened. Tell me what happened in Bali. There's something that's happened. You need to go into it. And when I said to him, he flew to Bali when I was over there, his jaw literally dropped and he was like, Danielle, your energy in that state pulled in somebody from a different state. He was like, the strength that you have energetically, that's what you need to focus on. He was like, he's in his ego. He's not going to see it. He knows, he said to me, he knows there's a connection there. He's seen it and felt it, but he's choosing to walk away and ignore you, is what he said to me. And that made me feel a lot better, but also really, really annoyed. Like really, really frustrating and really annoyed because I was like, you've got to be fucking kidding me. I was really angry, but then I remembered like as well, free will, guys, we've all got free will in this life. And if we choose to walk away from something in life or a person, it's for a reason, okay? Anyways, that solved a purpose, but from then onwards, whenever I would see him, he was an absolute dickhead, pretty much, basically, not very nice at all to me, which was probably the way he was trying to tell me to, like, back off and stuff, and he didn't really cope with the fact that we had that connection, so he was just being an absolute asshole, until my partner's best mate, my best mate's partner pulled him up again and said, like, the way that you behaved last night, there was quite a few people that mentioned to them that he had been behaving not very nice to me, that it made him basically come up and apologize to me. And I wish in that moment, instead of saying silent, because I was like, in my head, I actually felt like he wouldn't have listened if I'd said something either way, but I felt like I probably should have just ripped into him. I probably should have just ripped into his fucking ass and said, do you know what the most frustrating thing is? You could not be honest with me. The whole time we've had this weird, intimate situation that you've pretended that we have no connection and you come home and act like you're all tough and in your ego and stuff like that. You've really fucked with my mind. Like, I allowed it, by the way. I allowed myself, but it was meant to happen so that I could see that I was very powerful within myself, and also that he helped me open up to the fact that I was here for a greater purpose with a greater love to have. It just was not him, okay? And I'm fine with that, honestly. No fucking regrets about that at all. And I really wish that I had used my voice and had said, hey, I wish that you had just said to me back in the day that you were not interested and I could have moved on with my life. That's what I wish I had said. And I still wish that I had spoken up and said that to this day. This is why it's important as women to not regret, to really be in our power, to be able to not regret. The word is to be in our power, to be able to say, hey, why did you do this? Can you just explain to me? Can you tell me? Please just give me some insight so I can walk away and leave this as a healed chapter in my life and I will not bother you. Most women will do that. But because a man acts a certain way, it makes a woman look fucking crazy. I felt so stupid. This is actually what destroyed my relationship with my other friends. I walked away. I ended up walking away because no one wanted to tell me And if they did, it was in a very gentle mode. It wasn't in a, we really think that you need to step away and you need to, and then they did actually say, we can actually catch up with you, separately. You don't have to get invited to things. And I thought, what kind of life do I want? Being friends with everybody when you're going to see them every time they come back. And if I'm still involved in this, we're going to catch up with that person and, we're going to hang out. And it really messed with me. Let me be honest. I know that I got myself into some deep shit. Am I proud of it? No. Am I proud of the way I acted? No, I'm not. But I could see it for what it was, and I could see it for the fact that when he was seeing me, he was seeing other women as well, and I'm 100% sure of that. We weren't dating, no, not at all, but I thought he would at least have some common respect to actually tell me or let me know or not keep things so weird and secretive and sneaky, and I could not see how much of a red flag that whole situation was, and it really did affect me mentally, mentally a lot. And I had another thing happen in that space and time as well that I was dealing with. So I basically, through my 20s, had so much that shifted me and shaped me to awaken me. It awakened me again to my power and my purpose here in this world to really help women. At the time, I've always worked with my mentor. I've always meditated, done those things. I was going to yoga more. I started to step away. I was doing yoga more. I'd made new friends and stuff like that as well because I felt like I needed to expand myself. I spent a lot of time with my best mates, Dika and Luca, who are still very, very close with to this day. Tracy and Luke as well, who I'm still very, very close with to this day. They just helped me navigate the fact that I was growing and that I needed to walk away from something that was not healthy in my life. And do you know how painful that is for me to actually say that? Because I loved these people deeply in my heart, and I still do. And to this day, I still sometimes have really trouble at the fact that they were my best friends at a time and point in my life, and I valued them. They did so much for me. They loved me the best that they could, and I didn't probably give them the respect of actually pulling away gently. I pulled away too quickly, and it basically snapped a cord too fast and too quickly as a friendship. So this is a lesson in life for everybody as well, okay? Take my knowledge of what I've learned from, and if you're single or if you're in a relationship or whatever, implement it into your life and to your thinkings, okay? We all make mistakes. We all do stuff that we very much regret. But also you have to forgive yourself, because at the time you were only doing... My mentor said to me, Danielle, you were only following your heart. You only followed your heart, and it shocked people. But my whole family was shocked, but you followed your heart. You listened and you followed your heart the whole time. You didn't waver from your heart. So living from your heart is scary, guys. I've lived from my heart since then, and it has got me into some troubled places, but most of the time, I'm now with my husband. My heart found my husband again. My genuine soulmate. This makes me so teary because this story really did affect me in so much in my way, okay? It affected me deeply, and it has since I met my husband, who is the most incredible man, okay? Like anyone, we both have our faults, but he's my true ultimate soulmate this lifetime. I get to spend this lifetime with him. And I also found out that he and I this lifetime, it's our last one together. And I want to make it really count. I'm so grateful for the lessons and the learnings in my 20s. But I'm ready to leave him there. My husband is my everything. And we have been through some really hard shit, guys, as well. It's not being with a soulmate. It takes 6 years, like I've said, to unravel. It takes a long time to really coincide your union with each other. And you really have to be solid on the outskirts with people for you guys to keep your unity solid. And I'm grateful for all those things and all those pathways and all those hurts that I've had. I've got plenty more stories where they come from. Not as big as that one, but this one did shape me, because basically meeting my twin flame shifted my life. And it was the best thing that ever happened for me. Even if I don't agree at the time that it's what I felt like was the right thing. Now I look back and go, I am so thankful that I have a husband who accepts me for my beautiful spiritual self, who welcomes it, who loves it and protects it. And I love him for his strong masculine being self, his physical self, who has a spiritual side to him, which is really important. The female brings the spiritual side to the masculine and brings it out in them. The masculine brings the feminine into the grounded position so that they can create together. And that is the most powerful thing in this world, is creating together. So when you become in union with yourself as well, like, let me talk about the masculine and feminine in your body for a moment. When you talk about the masculine and feminine inside your body, it is really important to acknowledge that you guys as a whole can balance yourself out. Okay, you can balance it out, and the masculine provides a safety, and like if you're building a business, they help you build the business, and then the feminine comes in and creates whatever you need to be able to bring in and manifest money. Okay, it's the same within a relationship, exactly the same. So thanks for listening, guys. This episode was a pretty raw episode. I don't think I've ever really openly spoken about that story, but I feel like it has a deep purpose to it. And it shaped and shifted my life, and I don't regret it at all. But it made me realize that people come, people go, and it's about how you treat people as well in life. And I've had a lot of people over, I guess, my 20s, from reflecting on the 20s, I didn't really act the way that I'm super proud of either. I felt like I let my ego get on top of me, and it was a big lesson. I had to really break down my ego. Like, me and my mentor worked on really, really pulling down the walls of my ego. And it's still there. It's never gonna not go, but I have control over it. I understand when it's ego and when I'm really working with my soul. I'm hoping to eventually be able to completely work from a soul place, which seems like it's going to happen in the next couple of years, and then use the ego as just a way of safety and thinking and those types of things. So I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I will see you next week. I might actually do an episode next week on how I met my husband and how those things panned out and the things that have happened to us along the way. So, alright guys, thanks for being here, and I'll see you next week.